Hello, and today we want to talk to you about how to start a new dig bed off. You tend to see our vegetable beds, which are the first beds that we put over to new dig, and they went over last year. But there are still areas of the rest of the garden that are not new dig. This area here being one example. Now, this is where we grow a lot of our soft fruit. This area was always dug every year and either compost or manure added, but over the last year or so it's actually had a membrane down the middle, because it does actually get quite weedy here. There's a lot of stuff like oxalis, which is quite invasive. In fact, you can probably see some here that even though this is late February, it's trying to have a go at starting to grow. So given the success that we've had with new dig, I now want to turn this over to new dig. The other reason I want to do that is that I want to put 2 rows of strawberries down the middle so that we can maximise what we can crop in this area, allowing ourselves enough space to be able to get down here and down here to pick the raspberries. Now I need to change my strawberries, because if you look over there, they're about 4 to 5 years old now, and they're starting to go very woody. Their crop wasn't as good last year. This is what our land would normally look like if it wasn't under new dig. And if you just pan round to that side, I've deliberately left this so that you can see it as it would be. But for this bed, there actually aren't any thistles or anything like that, or dandelions. It is just principally annual weeds. So the first thing I'm going to do is to just roughly get this level. And ironically, I will be using a spade for that, just to get rid of these lumps. I shall just slice it off the surface and put it down so that it's just a little bit more level. And then we should go to the compost bins and we should get a good 5 to 6 inch layer of compost on this soil. As you can see, we've put a layer of compost on the surface, so it's now converted to new dig. Now, because this is the first time it's gone to new dig, there's a good 5 to 6 inch mulch on here, and although we make our own compost, we simply didn't have enough to be able to do that. And it's one of the things you do have to think about when you're doing new dig, that you probably do need to buy some compost in for the first initial 6 inch layer. We can make enough compost to spread a 1 to 2 inch layer on in the ongoing maintenance of new dig, but it's just getting the beds ready initially. So what we have done, we've brought in some green waste compost. That's been laying around for the last 4 or 5 months, so should have some goodness back into it now. We've managed to take the old strawberries up from there, and if you wonder why we're not replanting the strawberries back in there, well, strawberries actually they get quite a lot of disease and viruses, so it's a good idea when you replant that you replant them somewhere else where they haven't grown before, and give the other piece of land a chance to recover. And we shall come back to this in 2 or 3 weeks time. If any weeds have poked their heads through, then we'll give it a hoe, and then we'll look to plant our new strawberries. Now, because we're going to be putting new strawberry plants in the bed over there that we've prepared, I don't know exactly what the crop is going to be like for the coming year. So what we have done, we've taken those plants out over the far side, and we've put some of the new runners into this piece of area here. They're only going to be here for the 1 year, because they're already established and should give us a crop. So hopefully we still have some lovely fresh strawberries to eat in 2022. Now, in this example, we want to turn this into a new dig flower bed. So Mrs. W will be extremely happy, because she's been wanting me to be doing this for a little while now. So what we've done is we've lifted up the slabs, and we've taken out all of the hard bits of concrete and cement that the slabs were laid onto. But we've left the sand behind. I think that's going to aid with drainage anyway. It'll all help. And you can probably see just behind me, I've now got a barrel full of compost, and we're going to spread this onto here. We've made this flower border and planted our plants. Just out of camera shot, we used to have a wooden herb bed, but that's sort of rotted now and is not really doing so well. So we decided to put our herbs into here, but also intersperse it with flowers too. And as for some examples, we've got some daphne, some myrtle and rosemary. Certain herbs we don't want to plant in the garden, like our mint and our sorrel, because it can become quite invasive within the borders, so we tend to keep that in pots. And as you can see, we've interspersed some pots in amongst the plantings. And it's taken us no more than a couple of hours to take the slabs up that we wanted to, lay down the compost mulch, and then just plant the plants that we wanted to plant. And as you can see, Mrs. W is rather fond of some metal structures too. We've got Hedwig the owl from Harry Potter, and I know she loves her windmill. Loves to see that spin round in the wind. And they used to be on the other side actually, but quite buried amongst the roses, so yeah, it's quite good to see those now. We've cleared the strawberries that were down here, and actually it wasn't too bad, so all we've needed to do is to put a layer of compost over the top. However, this particular part of the bed, you can see, this is actually what our veg beds would have looked like had we not been no dig. There's a lot of weeds there that you don't particularly want in your garden. And going over to the no dig method, we'll be excluding the light from those weeds, which will kill them off, and we should be able to plant in this as soon as we like. So the first job is to get some cardboard down. Now, if you live in a particularly dry climate, or you're doing it at the time of the year in the UK when it's really, really hot, it would be a good idea to wet the cardboard first and soak it to help it break down. But as this is early March, we've still got plenty of rain to fall out of the sky yet before we get to summertime. And I think there would be more than enough water that will penetrate through the compost and onto the cardboard to help the rotting down process. So the next job to do is to get some compost on top. So I don't think I quite said earlier, but when you do lay the cardboard, make sure all the sticky tape or sellotape is off the cardboard, because that will struggle to rot down, will take many, many years, and is not so good for your ground. So you can see here that we've spread our compost on, and we have a good 5 to 6 inch layer on top of that cardboard. And we are now no dig in this bed. Now if you wanted to, you could plant up immediately. We're not going to on this occasion. In about a week's time I'm going to be sowing some shallots, and they're going to go in this bed, which will probably get some lettuce in here. At the same time I do the shallots, I'm probably going to sow some radish, and they can go in here. And although this is not a huge space, you'll be amazed what you can crop from this. So it looks a bit tall at the moment, but you know, the worms and all of the life that's beneath the soil, they will start to work on that and it will sink down. And as we film over the course of the year, as we plant up and take harvest from here, you'll see the changes in this new no dig bed. So there we have it. No dig gardening, 3 different ways. You saw earlier in the video where we put a compost mulch over our fruit area, soft fruit area, and in a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, we should be planting up some nice strawberries in there to make maximum use of that land. And then we made a flower bed. We took up some slabs from our patio and created a new no-dig flower bed, which looks lovely. And then lastly, we used this method where we put the cardboard down and then put compost on top, principally because there are some weeds like dandelion, things like that, where when you do pull them, you tend to leave a lot of the root behind. So by excluding light of those, that will starve the plant of any food and to be able to photosynthesize and kill them off. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave us a like, and we would love you to subscribe to our channel. And if you're thinking about being no dig, but you know, maybe don't know quite how to go about it and is it really for you, then yeah, subscribe to our channel and follow us through, because we shall be filming this area all through the coming growing season, when we plant it, how we plant it, what we put in there, and any other general maintenance we do to keep on top of weed control. We shall see you on the next video.